You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Okay, all right. Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. We're here. We're ready to talk now, and we're introduced. Hi. So, right. What we're talking about is heroes and protagonists, and I guess just protagonists. We're gonna split hairs in a minute or so, but that's the theme. I mean, you saw it when you clicked on the episode, but now I said it. Hi, Anna. How you doing? Did I do good?
You just fine. That was fine. No, good job. Well done. That's a good try. And I think we're going to roll with it. So yeah, hero or protagonist. That's what we're talking about. And it turns out when we started digging around on Google that it's not necessarily the same thing.
It's almost annoying because I think at least I was kind of keen to get into dissecting the different, let's say, lead characters in adventure games, right? We both have the same giant list in front of us, but it's going to take a little bit to even get there because it is, like you said, it's not really well defined. So why don't we do that real quick? Let's define in a rare, Haley's comment swing to be organized in an episode. Why don't we define what we're going to talk about?
Well,
I'll go first. So
you did come up with the phrasing. It was just so eloquent. I was trying to pull your words out, but you might as well give them.
Adventure games are kind of unique because I've never really had to dissect this until this topic came up, because most stories, I guess you could argue, besides some just comedies, outright comedies, most stories really do have a hero of some sort, a do-gooder or a positive thing that is set right or whatever. And there's it's not that isn't the case in adventure games, but there's a lot of iffy characters in adventure games. You get characters like, I guess you could say, Roger or Larry or I don't know, Sam or Max. We'll get into characters in a second, but it is just interesting to note that. But I guess at the end of the day, the tone I was going to just kind of quickly set for everyone, and then I won't be so coming at you with stuff I'm reading from my screen. But I did want to just kind of set apart that we're going to go along at least on this basis of terminology, right? And if you don't totally agree, I kind of don't either. It's a lot. So we're going to go along with the idea that a protagonist is broken down into the groups of either a hero, an anti-hero, an unlikely protagonist, or unlikely hero. Mm-hmm. And I I guess that's kind of it.
He's generally the main character in the story is kind of who we're focusing on, because there could be a hero who's not the main character of a story, of course.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And that's something I guess we'd have to get into as well, because there's I know there's certain tricks that people use when it comes to unrelatable characters. Mm-hmm. I don't have a video game one. I did try to think of one earlier, and the best I could come up with was Sam and Max, and just that, just that you get kind of the straight edge performance from the one, but that doesn't quite fit. So the best example I have is Willy Wonka, where it's we're which one is it? Yeah, Willy is so unrelatable that you have Charlie there as the tether,
right?
And then in a sense Charlie's kind of not the main character. So right. I was trying to apply that to adventure games. We might as well just pause here real quick, why not, and see if you have anything, and I'll kind of think further on it. But can you, I'll just lay it out a little cleaner one more time. Can you think of any adventure games where the main character isn't the eccentric, quirky one?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because, I was thinking of Unlikable, which was the experience with the Deponia, where the main character, but neither of us have played it thoroughly enough to go farther into it. But, the main character isn't super likable. A lot of people didn't like him specifically.
Yeah.
And there's other characters that are somewhat more likely to make up for it, but he's the main character. But alternative main character to make up for it. Like the same in the Edna and Harvey that, I don't think you've played either. There's two main characters. Technically, Edna's the main character, the girl in the psych ward. Harvey, her bunny, is also like an anti-hero, or at least they're both protagonists. They're two, right? But neither of them are heroes. But they're also both main characters.
Right.
And neither of them are fully likable. There's one to offset the other, or,
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it does branch off into likability too, because it's an interesting point. Because when you bring up relatability, yeah, you're right. If they're not likable, then they're not relatable. But that also doesn't mean that they're suddenly like eccentric or not understandable. You just, I understand you. You're just a dick.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so that is. I guess you could probably say a branch then.
Well, there's a lot of branch. It's like with the hero in Quest for Glory is you, and he could be a hero, and he can do all the good, amazing things that make him great and wonderful, or he can be the protagonist of the story that also helps people, but also steals from people and can do like things that aren't very nice to the people that are helping him in the game that are being nice to him.
And I would say I would qualify that. I'm trying to be definitive early in the episode, just so going forward, like
I appreciate
at least where I'm standing is like clearer, I guess. But like I guess you could say in that last scenario you said where you take, let's say, the thief route in Quest for Glory. So like in that scenario, then I think that's like a defined anti-hero. Because the way, and this is like just a huge, just take it to Reddit kind of situation. with the anti-hero subject, especially if you want to get into, okay, actually we just will in a second. So like, wait, this is the perfect time to do those. This sort of
is
things.
The place.
Exactly. Okay, so anti-hero is they basically solve the hero's dilemma or do the right thing the wrong way.
Like Deadpool or something
like that. Man, that's a tough one to put in there immediately because he really pushes it.
Does
he? Yeah, I guess.
Okay, I'm new. Like, I don't know the universe well. My kid had me watch the movie, and
I'm excited. I wanted to say it. I finally saw a comic thing, and I don't know it well enough to even say either. Yeah. I both get yelled at with that route. Okay, well let's think adventure game wise. So I went through a pretty big list. I didn't put down any antagonists or villains because we potentially might just do a show on them at some point. And I went down the Sierra and Lucas list, and I didn't. And I'm just triple checking myself, but I didn't come up with any anti-hero except for, I guess you could say, possibly Gabriel Knight, but I don't in the first one. But I mean, it's like that he's kind of defining protagonist in that sense where he's like in the middle of a hero's journey. Like
there's growth. You have to, if he's showing growth over the course of the story too, that's a big deal.
Right, exactly. And obviously, like with the anti-hero, is like, I guess I would just kind of say, again, being descriptive, is Gabriel Knight and Indiana Jones are going to fall into like more of the unlikely hero, unlikely protagonist category, where it's like they are not necessarily virtuous, but they not only are they not like overtly virtuous, but they will also do what needs to be done, like means to an end for the greater good. And that's the separation there between like antagonist and villain, right? So anyway, so on that one, so do you agree to that? Do you think Indiana Jones is like, or do you think he's more like anti-hero, or do you think he's a hero?
No, I think I agree with you. Yeah, he's definitely a protagonist, and I think he becomes a hero as time goes on more, doesn't he? I don't know.
Yeah, right. Because you have to go through the whole arc with him. That's fair.
Yeah, because you're on this big journey, and
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's still plenty to pick within like complete arcs we've completed.
Because there's just even like Freddie Farkas, you've got your reluctant hero. He'd already been a hero. He did his thing. He had his stuff. He's done with being a hero, and now he's like forced into heroism when really at the beginning he was just the protagonist.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. I've got Freddie. It's the only one in bold on my notes. It says Freddie, and then it says special category, because I'm like, for the exact reason you just said, God, we're such nerds. It's lovely. Because I was like, what Freddie, he's like a fallen hero who's rediscovering himself. And I kind of argued that pedantically, and I guess just to be a dick and just for fun, I would argue that It's a common way our conversations start. Now, just to be a dick and for fun, I would
Related.
argue that I would argue that he's maybe a hero because his rock bottom, I guess you could say, is just part of his, like, evolving, because he found his way back up to heroism. Was he ever not a hero?
Yeah, because, he was looking out for the town also in his own way. Everybody kind of knew him. He was giving people prescriptions. He managed to make anybody who can make a business from nothing into something in a town become like generally known and be trusted enough to do pharmaceutical stuff, I think, is always a hero in my opinion.
He actually didn't lose his, like, I know his status as a hero based on anything like villainous or maleficent or anything like that, right? He was kind of, I guess, not even dishonored. It was came out kind of.
Well, it was kind of his pride, really, in the end, because he was supposed to be of a specific hierarchical position. It'd be like Robin Hood not getting the arrow in the center. Somebody else like pins his arrow.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So that just doubles down the heroic point. So I guess you could say his backstory would give the illusion of him being a hero, but really he was just
pedantic,
good at what he did.
He was good at what he did, and he was sulking when he wasn't the best at it. And not only was he sulking, but his pride was injured because he was physically deformed.
Perfect. Okay, so then that's the transition exactly over to Guybrush in Monkey Island 2. Because he's demoted himself from status of, I would say, hero, because he saves the day at the end of Monkey Island 1, and he demotes himself. I mean, he's just the worst person in that whole game. For the most part, he's really just the worst guy. But I was going to say he kind of demoted himself through lack of humility, perhaps.
The whole thing starts because of him, right? Because he stole the beard. That it's like, oh, now LeChuck can be resurrected. Let's go. It's all his fault.
Over too, right? And then that was like an act of, I guess you could almost say, pride, in the sense where he's proving to the person that he did take it. His ego is like, well, yes, he still didn't have to give it to him anyway.
And all he's really trying to do is escape LeChuck the whole time, Guybrush. He's not trying to save anybody or save anything, and it's this whole like to his own means to an end.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. In the second one, and so I guess so. That's. And unfortunately, I haven't played any of the rest from there. I'm probably, for the time being, going to go ahead and skip.
Well, he's Inspector Gadget in 2 too, right? He's the one like, oh, he made an explosion, so he ends up on the island where he's actually supposed to go. Like, it's funny. It's like the things keep happening to him, but really it's like Brain and Penny in the background making things actually work in that one.
Yeah.
It's a good game. I'm not insulting it, by the way. I had a lot of fun with this game. I enjoyed playing it. This is just like characterization specifically. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's obviously brilliant. Yeah. I guess the game doesn't need us to say that sort of situation.
Good point. But still, people might think, oh, is she down in Monkey Island too? No, dude. No. I'm not.
No, because we'd probably get like good like scumbag clickbait numbers if we were like, if we were, wow. It's a very recorded and audible wow.
Usually they're just typed.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say we could probably get really good numbers if we were to shit on that, because I don't think people could contain themselves.
No.
If we were to be like,
maybe that would get us the numbers. They'd be like, we need to listen to this freaking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Be more controversial.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good time. Yeah, okay, so we were doing Freddy and Guybrush as far as like being caught in the middle of a hero's journey, I guess you could kind of say. And in Freddy's case, the backstory provides like a huge chunk of it, and in the game you kind of complete that journey. Let's say, I don't know if you return to town to share the knowledge, because you have to do that. Yeah. But anyway, you get really close to completing the journey. And then in Monkey Island, again, like I said, I don't know. Everyone knows how it gets from after Monkey Island 2 until the one that just came out. So I need a little time to finish what I'm doing so I can play some stuff. We'll all get back to that.
Yeah, I'm not done. I've started it, though.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that Ron, wanted to get back at. Like, I'm sure there's
It's the real sequel.
there's a completion of an arc in some sort of sense. I think we could safely say that it's probably done just as well as Freddy Farkas. That would be a David and Goliath kind of poll to put on Twitter. It's a bloodbath, man. I can't watch.
It's just too much.
All right. Who would do this to them? All right, sorry. It was weird theoretical. So we're doing good. We're doing a good episode. Let's just stop and I'm not cutting this out, by the way. I just want to stop and say keep it up, guys.
Good job, boys.
All right.
Good job.
Okay, I've got a few things here. So, I've got the and it might be just kind of fun. Yeah, let's abandon that. I think it'd be more fun. Let's go through a list of Sierra and LucasArts characters and just kind of quickly categorize them. They're mostly going to turn out towards just the. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because never mind. So let's do that. We'll start with LucasArts, and I'll start first with Bobbin. Robin Threadbare. Yeah.
The loon.
I have him down as well, I don't know. I was really fighting that hero counted as protagonist earlier when I wrote this list. So I have him down as protagonist. That was kind of before I just accepted that we should integrate it and, in a loose sense, think of speaking to the hero within all of us, or the best in all of us, or whatever. Even if it is like a mediocre, almost chore, like getting condoms at whatever in Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah, that's a stretch. I shouldn't have tried that much relief on you guys. But anyway. So I'll just say I actually don't have answers to quick fire. So for Bobbin, I'm gonna say, I gotta. Do you have a quick answer? Because I got to remember the beginning real quick.
Well, he was brought in, so they were trying to determine his fate. So all of it was his own means to an end as well. And I mean, in the end, it's spoiler, right? But you don't really know. Was it left in like chaos, or was everything okay? Like, was there a fully like a purpose, or how did it all go down?
Yeah, goodness, that's just a really, really momentum killer to start with, because it kind of he arguably, I'm not even sure if I guess he kind of does complete the task to which he was set and the best of his capabilities, and its alignment and orientation is for the highest good. So I think that puts him in hero.
Yeah, I mean, he did the big destroy thing, like all those epic kind of things. He gets reunited, or his mom comes in, and there's so much happening in this game, though, and it's such a short little game too.
I guess just if you were to overthink it, it could get complicated in the sense that, like, are the motives like for his own, well-being, or is it for everyone's? And like, who and where is everyone? All the everyone's are mean to him, and just so on and so forth. And then as far as the ending, is that even a success on his behalf? And then the success,
you could imagine it is actually, and say he is the hero, though, for sure.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's just a super short answer, unless you run like some nerdy podcast where you're gonna
where people would talk about a game like Loom for a whole episode or something. Yeah, so
I know. It was number 83, I believe. You can download it.
People don't know how much self-restraint we give by actually glancing over and giving each game what we do, because we could go so much more on depth on like all of them.
I could still be talking about Space
Quest.
Quest.
We're way back. We're behaving.
And honestly, if Trolls hadn't already gotten there ages before.
He did. He's very thoroughly covered the subject, and so well. Yeah, well enough that my 20-something-year-old is just like, his stuff is actually really good, though, Mom.
It's really fun. Yeah, actually, rewatch it, especially everybody go check out Trolls the Space Quest Historian channel. It's so good. And check out Joshua's channel, Joshua Cleveland's channel, Weird Gaming Adventure. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening out there right now in the adventure gaming world.
I've been binging that this week. It's so good. Okay, right. So let's start. We got Bobbin. I mean, it was murky, but this is the best we do. So you might want to stop or start giving us money based on that.
True.
This is concise and coherent, and other C words that
the good ones.
Not those. Yeah, come on now. Ridiculous.
So yeah, I think we've said hero. Yes, we can say hero. Like you can imagine it to be any way that you want, but there's growth, things happen, families involved. All those are hero-y things.
And you bring up a good point. None of this matters.
Mm-mm.
So that is also very
That helps.
yeah, it does. Okay, so Bernard, I've got him. I've got an asterisk mark. This is the nerdiest asterisk mark I've ever made because this depends on whether or not you obviously chose him in Maniac Mansion. Because if you didn't, and he was just a bystander while good things happened and that girl was saved, then he's on the coattails in that situation. It's not okay.
Well, he's
But
certainly some of them are more useful than others. It's hard to pinpoint because they're all the protagonists, but not all of them are heroes for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I literally was like, we're just going Bernard for both those games. There's so many characters in both of those. But yeah, I mean, again, just obstinately and nerdily, if you picked him in Maniac Mansion, then I will say hero.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then how effective he is in Day of the Tentacle isn't. I don't know. I don't care.
It doesn't matter as much. But yeah, in the first one, he can repair appliances. Otherwise, that's pretty important. That solves so many puzzles very specifically. So
I can't. Is it Bernard or Mike that's like the easy cheat one to select? I think it's Bernard because of what you. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
so.
It's probably Bernard. It's not Sid, that's for sure. Jeff, no, it would be Mike.
And he's also I don't. Never mind. I was gonna say nobody's gonna float by on representational things, but he stands on his own. He does good deeds in both, and well, I guess he's definitely not a hero. He's an unlikely hero. Sorry, I just looked at him.
Yeah, unlikely. If you're looking at who's who on the actual pictures, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just glance down like, oh wait, I've made a horrible mistake. Okay. So do you concur?
Yeah, I concur.
Okay. Elaine comes up next. She must be more playable as Monkey Island goes on, like in the I guess retcon third.
Would you put her in with say Passionate Patty then in that, or in a different role? Where would you place her?
The only reason I picked Grace Nakamura over Patty was because sorry. was because you play or actually that's on thin ground. I'm just gonna say I thought of Grace.
No, well you could. Yeah. I mean, all three of them because they're. I mean, Grace, is she more playable in the second Gabriel Knight?
Yeah, I still can't remember if you can play her in the first one. I feel like there's a point where you have to because Gabe's tied up or knocked out or sleeping in his bedroom in the first one. Doesn't matter, but you definitely play her in the second one in the castle. So
yeah.
But I think you can twice, and that would
that makes sense. Anyway, so it puts her right in league with the other two. Yeah, okay.
Exactly, puts her right there with Elaine, and to which case, I mean that's really tough because they're not even. I'm trying actually real quick. Are either of them the relatable protagonists? I mean, arguably Grace, but only when Gabriel's in the middle of being a werewolf.
Right. Well, Grace is fine. She's fussy, but she's the kind of girl that can certainly keep a man in line. And I mean, she is integral to the whole operation. You wouldn't say she ran the business, but you would say that she was the bones of it all, like the structure.
Yeah, exactly.
And Elaine is hierarchically high, right from the get-go. She's already in a position of power. She doesn't need to be a hero, technically, per se.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, or at least there'd be no journey unless it was taken away from her. In which case, it'd be probably the perfect foundation for the beginning of one, right? It's like starting at the bottom.
She was on what 1, 2, 3 frickin' islands. That girl owns 3 frickin' islands.
Okay, I guess really theoretically, the perfect scenario would be for her to voluntarily abandon it, go into the belly of the whale.
Yes, that's true.
Because when the reason I conceded to calling hero a subcategory of protagonist was just looking at I don't know how to word this. There's patterns across stories, and the patterns are what constitute an archetype. And so, an archetype is what's common across a set of stories. So archetype is like the meta story,
yes,
in a sense, right? And it's like when you look back at all the patterns of storytelling, or let's say that the characters in these stories, they started here and they ended up there,
right?
And things are better.
Yeah, progression. Yeah.
Yes, whether it's emotionally, physically, whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, so it's it's good we're on the exact same page, and I guess that kind of just puts context to behind the rest. And if anybody, I guess, just wants to think along too, like, you know, where they would put things, it's like I'm still trying to find like a pattern or an archetype, more specifically for. And I guess even in a comedy, it's like behind every lead role, there's something that they grew and learned and do better for now. Even in like Knocked Up, when he learns how to dad, it's like there's always something, even in this good stoner comedy. So, okay, well, fantastic. The next one on my list is Manny, to which I just wrote unclear. I don't know. I didn't play those.
Oh, you didn't play that? Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, I played Grim Fandango, and Manny's like cool and suave, and he does end up like helping a friend that was really in need. I don't know if he grew as a character so much as he was good. You knew he was good, and you help him show off how cool and, you know, stuff he is throughout the game.
Right. It's this is why this episode turned out to just be so much more interesting than either of us intended.
So many layers.
It's like adventure game stories specifically seem to be difficult, as far as like difficult in a great way, in a refusing to just fit in orderly boxes sort of way. But it's like, once again, like, Manny's dead. So it's like, what are the heroic notions of a dead man? And then, like, it's a whole thing to kind of unpack. And it's like, I mean, the story plays out as if he was just like, you know, from his soul, let's say. So I guess it's all equal in that sense, but it's still just rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
Like, because I think Manny wasn't even like, he wasn't a great, like, he stole somebody else's person to kind of better himself and get quotas so that he could do what he was supposed to do. And at the end, like, it doesn't necessarily goes well either, like, for all of his friends. Like, he's a little bit selfish in my recollection of the game.
So is he mostly forwarding his own, like, you know, instead of the greater, like, was the greater good his own greater good?
Yeah, there was some of his own greater good, but along the way he helped some people. And somebody might argue that has played the game more recently. I played the game when it first came out, so my recollections are a little bit, you know, out of date at this time, but that's what I have, so.
Okay, so officially anti-hero or unlikely?
More, not neither. Not he's not really an anti-hero, I guess, either. And he's not really he's an assumed hero. And not even that. He's a protagonist and he's a main character, but I don't know if he falls necessarily into as much of a hero category.
What did I have for anti-hero? Because this is the confusing one. So does he solve what would otherwise be the hero's dilemma, or do the right thing the wrong way? I know it's been 20 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a dick move.
Well, no, because he did good deeds. He did good things. And he did help other people get an easier passage to, like, the afterlife. I mean, which was essentially what he was assigned to do in the first place by his boss. So, yeah.
Yeah, but even that's like, but if you're doing it for financial gain, that kind of doesn't count. I just want to be really difficult about this one. I'm sorry, we'll move on. That's so totally good.
Well, I know it shows me I need to play the game a lot. But yeah, there's a girl involved with friends. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. There's a huge cast of characters. It's really quite pretty. It had tank controls. It was the original one had tank controls, and the remake doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I do want to play it one day. I've always vowed it would be like the one not pixel art adventure game I played.
That's why I played it. Because he looks at the things that were, like, there was no hotspots. So what it was in the original one was the tank controls, and he looked at things that you were wanting to pick up. So his head would turn. You'd be like, oh, there's a thing there. So you'd click on it.
Right. Much to the general infuriation of the crowd, I think.
Yeah, I was like, it took me a while to get the handle of the controls, but once I got the handle of the controls, the game itself was very LucasArtsy. So it was straightforward and easy to finish.
I would imagine there's a certain sense of, like, why are you like this, though? You know, like, why did we do that? Why did I have to get used to this?
Yeah, I was just thinking that was the way that the next era of where it was going to go was, but it didn't.
Yeah, they were too, I bet.
I think they were, because they were all in with this game. But again, like Full Throttle, another short game. So.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's like a more action-y control, and those are the games that are killing your genre, and everybody's just trying to do,
It's like a first-person shooter. People will love it.
Right.
There's, it's no Tomb Raider, but it'll do.
It's better than a cat mustache. That's what they're doing. That's what those guys are doing right now. We're fine.
Tomb Raider was like the intermediary. It was like the middle zone where it's like you've got puzzles and you've got action. The puzzle might just be which cliff or something with symbols, but it was kind of, and then it would try to infuse that little bit of a story into it.
Right.
It was enough that my dad played them, so I played them too.
God, were they like logic puzzles, kind of?
Yeah, sort of logic puzzles, or this cliff, this ridge,
Gross.
this one. But if you get the wrong one, you'll fall down, and you kind of have to go back up. But there's like something at the bottom that'll hurt you, so you have to do it in order. Stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Protagonist. Again, she's a hero. She's a protagonist, right? Like so.
No, she counts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, if you got any more non-adventure stuff, I'm here for it.
Oh wait, let me look at my list.
Damn it.
All adventure. There's no non-adventure on my list at all. Not a single one. There's Rosella. I didn't think she was on your list.
No, because I was hyper focused on Graham when I was going through this year. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, we're making our way through a list in a very organized and not like us manner. Let's skip Indiana Jones because he's a movie character and that's a whole thing people are fighting about right now. Not right now. Well, yeah, I guess because the movie came out. We don't care.
Yeah.
I love Indiana Jones. That's my Star Wars. I love him to death.
It's true.
And
I just watched Raiders of the Lost
Ark
with my dad and my kid, and it was longer than I remembered it being, but it was good.
Wow. Unbelievable. You said it right in front of me, used in front of a poster of him. That was creepy of me to say. All right. Anyway, Indy, I'm going to say unlikely, I guess, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And cynical hero.
Yeah, man, we should have done our own categories. Yours are more fun.
He's like, yeah, screw this, but okay. Yeah, gold or cred. I mean, he's also in it for his own.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And there's the whole like, he'll just shoot a guy in the kidney for like threatening him. He's just like, nah, dude, I don't feel like this today, and he'll just kill you, man.
Yeah,
so
this is not going to happen right now. Moving on, no consideration.
Scrappy. He's not I don't know, physically superior necessarily. He's plucky and scrappy as opposed to.
Yeah.
Anna, please, trying to focus. All I can see is that chin.
Yeah, he was really quite cute.
No, I mean, literally, his poster is right here from Fate of Aliens.
No, it's beautiful. It's a good one.
It's a good chin, too.
It's a good chin.
Yeah.
It's not.
All right. Well, enough about, arguably just straight Harrison Ford's chin.
Yeah.
Ben in Full Throttle.
Yes.
Is a cynical bastard. He's, I guess, he's the kind of guy where you just want to say anti-hero because he looks like it. Where it's like, oh, anti-hero, he looks like a badass. But, that's the whole thing that everyone gets pedantic over. Where it's like, don't just call me an anti-hero just because, they're badass or whatever. So it's like, Did you play Full Throttle?
Yeah, it's wasn't the whole thing was they took their vehicle, right? Because he's at the bar, and then that old guy or whatever, they'd come out and they're trying to scam it, and it was all set up and stuff. Though another really fast, fun game.
It was, yeah. Really, I enjoyed the length of that game, which was its biggest, I guess, complaint.
No, it was all taking over companies and behind the scenes. It was very executive crime mixed with motorcycles.
Yeah, the cinematic factor was really nice too, the way they did all the cutscenes. Yeah,
the cutscenes were beautiful, and the racing was beautiful. And again, the control system was one that I wasn't a huge fan of because you had to click on the thing and then, anyways, to get the things to come out of it. And it was very cool looking and all, and it was easy to get the hang of. But
no, it's not. It's not just you. It's the. I thought you were going to talk longer. I got caught swallowing.
It's okay.
Soda, and it was the motorcycle through the canyon, and then the
punching the dude on the motorcycle and that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even steering it through the canyons, and then what was at the very end with the demolition derby? That's right.
Yeah, at the demolition
That
derby.
was really buggy for me. Like I had a hard time playing that.
Well, it was a lot of graphics that were happening at the time too. Like it was a lot of information. There was like
Right.
explosions and airplanes and trucks and bikes and just it was all crazy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess Ben's like, I don't know, Ben was like he was. I think he was kind of like
well, he
more
rescued.
heroic than he looked. Like
He
more
was
more
soft spot.
um, more selfless than his rough exterior called for.
He needed to get a
Really,
group of people to cooperate with him. He had to be personable. He had Lady, and he saved her and stuff, and everybody had to work together to make all the plans happen. So he wasn't like a loner.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was like that old timey, like he's gonna do it, but he's gonna complain about it. Like, I'm just a lump of coal over here, but
Yeah. Yeah. You could associate him, I guess, a little bit like with the kind of personality with the guy from Tex Murphy, Under a Killing Moon, or kind of like sassy, but really a good guy at heart.
yeah, exactly. A little more gooder than they would want you to believe.
Yeah.
All right. We still have to do Sierra. We'll do them like as a kind of rapid fire. So let's just really quick. Sam and Max, they're totally not heroes.
No,
They
they're the
are unlikely.
anti-heroes, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At least half of them.
they're
half
like,
and
I'd
half.
rather shoot you than help you, but you know what? This is worth a couple of bucks, kind of like that kind of a hero.
Yeah, but you didn't pick up the jokey gun in the other room, so I can't.
Yeah.
It's such a good game, man. I wish there was more in the style of the first one.
Yeah, I like the best intro too. The way that they did it all, the intro to the Sam and Max game was beautiful. It's like one of my
Yeah,
favorite intros.
I'd just like to see more from like a Steve Purcell in general.
Yeah.
It's always so good. Like his artwork in Monkey Island was always so fun, so bendy and fantastical. The Monkey Idol. Okay, so that just leaves us with Zach McCracken, who's I guess unlikely for sure. So let's do Sierra probably kind of quick, right?
Yeah.
So we've been doing this a while. I feel like we've been doing this a while.
It does feel like a little while.
We already covered Freddy. For Graham, he's a protagonist. Oh, right, this was before we redefined it. Okay, he's a hero because he's becoming one in the first one, and then he is one in the second and fifth.
He's naturally has to be a hero because of his standing and positioning in life anyway.
Yeah, the way he kind of puts his hand on his hips and faces mountaintops,
Yeah,
it's very...
It's either he's in The Sound of Music or he's a hero. There's really no in between.
I don't like the laugh that forced out of me. That was good. Okay, and then Rosella is I don't know. It's hard to even say unlikely because like they're like, when I say they're Alexander and Rosella are like the children of a hero. So it's like it's almost like this predestiny. Like you have to and will be called upon to do great things, heroic things.
Well, Rosella was like a hero to her dad and a hero to the place, and she was an independent woman and a hero to other people. And then she came back in King's Quest VII and was like a lonely girl that wished she could go on.
Yeah, they really took the spinal cord out of her.
Yeah.
From what I hear, I didn't play the second one, but I've definitely seen enough angry reviews to get the gist. And obviously, listen to you talk about just what not an angry way from you, but just what they kind of did to her in that sense. Because yeah, she's very admirable and kind of, I guess, revered in the fourth one to an extent in her bravery and all that. And yeah, there's no more typical hero I think on this list. In an archetypical or just let's say like factual sense, because she ends up in the belly of a whale.
Yeah.
And she voluntarily does face the problem.
She does.
Right?
Like Jonah.
And
wow.
She's in a high position.
Trip.
And she leaves her comfortable. I mean, that is the blueprint for Campbell's idea for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, she wins the episode. Okay. Willie Beamish is, I guess, an anti-hero because I don't think
he's just a protagonist, I would say. He's not a hero, he's a protagonist, and everything he did was kind of self-serving, but in the end, he also ended up accomplishing big things for his father and the town.
See, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because again, in that archetypical story, it's like the other part of going into the belly of the whale is to rescue let's say, the spirit of your dead father. So it's between these two we just covered together. It's just kind of cool how these stories have been told for like 15,000 minimal years. It's kind of crazy, right? The same themes pop up over and over again.
I guess Willie is a hero.
Want to hear them.
I was wrong. As I read it, yes, there was growth and he did accomplish things, and okay, yeah, he is a hero.
I was wrong. Yeah, he saves his father at the end. But I mean, I was with you in spirit leading up to that, because it's like, until I remembered the dad in the toilet thing.
Yeah.
He was pretty much just like as you would expect from a kid. All right, we're doing good. We've only got a few more. That's right. Dr. Brain, I think I decided, was more antagonist. Laura Bow is, I would say hero, because you can't call her unlikely, because she sets out to do good.
Yeah, she sets out to. She's a hero. She's an observer.
Well,
she's an observer. Yeah. She's an observer.
I pedal back on that a little bit.
She's like definitely a protagonist. She's definitely involved. And if it wasn't for her, people would have gotten away with really bad things. And even if it was for her, she sucks.
Yeah, I guess the spirit of her reporting is the right orientation. Like, I just picked that up from, it made me want to say, it made me feel like she's more detective. Like, she's just looking out. You said observer, and you're right. And it's like, but what she's observing is like for the greater good of people.
Yeah.
Right? So
although she doesn't prevent any murders, she prevents the people that murdered them from going unpunished.
It had to be said. You're like, well, I mean, she does kind of just stand around while a combined body count of over 14 corpses stacks up.
And then she's like, oh my
games.
God, there they are. It's a whole thing. So great meme picture, though, that moment when she's just like, what the heck? Where'd all these people?
I do feel we're overlooking something here.
This isn't right. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
Just keep dying around her, though.
Yeah, it's like, is it you, honey? Like, are you putting yourself into these situations? And as I said, at no point does she go, oh my God, this is horrible. I've got to leave.
Yeah, maybe you should do a little less observing and a little more doing something about it one of these times.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that...
It's all preventative measures from the future, but some people are shit out of luck.
Yeah. If Laura's around, you're probably one of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're going to go ahead and keep her in the hero category.
Yeah.
Gabriel Knight, we covered earlier, and we're taking that because we're low on time. We both have things of importance to do. So there's Sonny, who is, he's a cop. He's
obviously a hero. He's an everyday hero.
Everybody relax.
He rescued he rescued a lady that needed to have a good, solid foundation that previous to him didn't have one.
Yes, exactly. We're speaking to all the inner children listening that wanted to, 8-year-old little boys that wanted to be policemen and do good. That's the whole notion here. That's what Sonny is, maybe. Yeah, I gotta say, I was watching a video last night, and Ron Gilbert annoyed me. He really did. Now, I know his thing is the grumpy gamer, so it's like I'm the fool if I allow it, right? But I enjoy being a fool. So, but he was he said something that I think was wrong, and I wanted to get your opinion. When he was talking about, it's kind of the usual, I'm sure most of our listeners have heard the idea where, like, he's, I think, on holiday and plays like one of his family members' versions of King's Quest, and he's like, this is dope, but I don't like the parser. And in comes, I think, a swing with Labyrinth and then a Maniac Mansion. Right. I don't know if he was in Labyrinth or not, so it doesn't matter. So he was going through it was a wonderful, awesome YouTube documentary. I think is Scarfulu that has it. Awesome channel. If he doesn't, check that out. But okay, man, I feel bad, but it's an hour and a half official documentary. It's got thousands of views. You all have to probably be them. It's from that. But he was just saying that, like, he was bigging up the creation of Guybrush, and the idea was that Guybrush is a young kid who wants to be a pirate and has no idea how to do it. And the inspiration from that, he's saying, comes from the Sierra characters leaving him wanting in the same sense that the parser did. Fair enough. but saying that you were given established characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, in King's Quest, you're a king. In Police Quest, you're the police, and like he does trail off quite quickly. Like it's, I promise, it's like I'm not skipping a bunch of parts, but I just stopped to think. Well, I'm like in King's Quest 1. You're not a king.
Mm-mm.
You're becoming a king,
Mm-hmm.
and in Police Quest, you just joined the force,
Mm-hmm.
and you're learning how to be one and getting yelled at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually meant that unironically.
It's true.
And
It's like in Quest for Glory. You're nobody. You're absolutely, and in every game you've got to bloody prove yourself. And even after becoming a hero, I know you haven't spent as much time in there, but by the time you get to number 4, you're like, man, I'm a freaking hero. You get to this town in Mordavia and they're like, who are you? I'm going to spit on the ground rather than talk to you, weirdo. And you have to like literally help everybody for them to slowly realize you're a hero again. So you're like constantly trying to prove yourself.
Right. Yeah. And so it's just, I guess it all. I don't think you mentioned Space Quest because it's like that's a janitor who's not even good at that.
No, you're a janitor and you get to still be a janitor. Sorry. No, it's exactly. It's nothing like that. He's not a hero.
But if it was fun to be like, oh yeah, I'm a well-established janitor and now save the world. Like that's a great premise for a game. Tell me it's not, Ron.
Yeah,
You know it is.
yeah.
But I almost contest. It just sounded to me like somebody. I'm putting this in a way that you could never admit, and that's not fair. It just sounded like there was a lot of maybe more. We all do it like the kind of assumption thing where it's like, it's probably just like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, did you play it though? Because
that is
you have to become the king.
I know what these are like. You have to type things in it. It's a King's Quest. I get it. Moving on.
Right. And especially if you start off on this, well, kind of only the 2nd or 5th one do you actually start off as an established king. Because in the 3rd one, you start off as Alexander, and the 4th is Rosella, and so it's. I just thought that was odd, and I don't think a lot of we both know that a lot of LucasArts players don't play Sierra games, so I don't think he gets called out on that stuff. Straight up, I think that's what it is. I happen to just love both, and love and respect him so much so that we spent a good portion of this pre-show talking about replaying Thimbleweed and everything. But yeah, I just wanted to call it on that, where it's like. And he's the kind of person that would totally give a straight up response or elaborate on it. And I would totally be curious and obviously open and cowardly in his presence.
Very.
Even ask Kissy to a despicable degree, just for the admiration and reverence that I have for the man.
Yeah.
But I'd still like to hear, I'm still kind of, I guess, passively asking for an explanation from him in that sense. Where it's like, what do you mean now? Because that's not the case. All right. Anyway. I feel like his nose is rubbed in it. Let's move on. It's weird. The sun has set through my speech there, so I'm just fucking.
We've got you have Jared.
Oh no, I didn't write him down. Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean it's an earnest.
Sorry. Take Jared again and go.
Oh, I don't know that we've talked about Jared yet because it's a thing. He's like going there, but it's for heart, home, and family. There's like it's sort of different motivations.
Yeah, that's really true because I'm not sure at any point in his story is he doing anything for anyone other than himself. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, he helps his brother, technically.
I mean, does he though? Because his brother's like, help him out here with all this gold.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I think his brother's good.
Yeah, he would have been fine either way.
No, wait, his brother is stuck in a cave.
Yeah, he was. So in the end, you come in and he's like, "Oh, you found okay. Let's look together," and
Yeah. He's like, God, you and this mule are acting weird around each other. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's a long way from Brooklyn, my friend. Let's go. Let's get out of here. So Jared's interesting. It's late in the conversation for another not clear one.
Yeah, he is the main character for sure, and he is the protagonist for sure.
Yeah, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Gerard is the main character in a game. Next.
And I mean, again, it's nice to honor your family and to make big decisions. It taught us to go forth and take a chance and see how you do. And, there's always more than one path
Oh,
to take.
yeah.
And it doesn't know till you're maybe there or dead and restoring, which path you should have taken.
No, that's so good. And we covered this way earlier in the episode too, where it's like, even if it means heroic, just into like, the most minimal of your own self-orientation, where it's like doing the best you can to better your own life.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can do good for society because you got your shit together. So that's what Jared is doing. He is getting his shit just all the way together and packing it up, throwing it on the back of a mule, and hauling it out to California.
And he's, he's caring. What does he do for his parents before he leaves? Like he honors things. He was wistful about his home and leaving it. And I mean, none of this was easy for him as a guy. He's like, man, I'm leaving a lot of things in my previous life and a lot of family heritage, but I've got to go on this adventure. My brother's calling to me. It's a big deal.
It is. God, we should do another episode on that game. You're like he does good for his parents, and in my head, I'm like, well, I do. And if you mean like types P when you're at the gravestones, that's an option. I'm just saying.
I didn't know that.
We've only got like 2 or 3 more, and then we could please be done. I'm so hungry. Larry, your favorite. Take it away.
Larry. Well, again, yeah, you're just. The first one's kind of like a day in the life of a lounge lizard.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, let's follow this guy around and kind of see what mishaps he can get into over the course of the game. Like, unless you count him buying alcohol for the bum heroic, because the bum was totally jonesing.
That fucked me up. That's really good. You're right. He might have saved him from like some sort of seizure-based, withdrawal symptoms. So let's go ahead and shoehorn him in there. Larry Laffer, hero.
He is a hero.
Next.
He was good for the breath spray company. Where else could the dog have peed? There's a whole factory underground dedicated to the existence of his resurrection that he obviously funds through his existence and then non-existence that wouldn't even be in existence if it wasn't for him.
Damn. I'm almost too confused to argue that.
That's just when you die, you go under the thing, right? And then they have to reassemble you again and they put you back onto the surface.
Yeah. Wow, that's brilliant.
If it wasn't for you, that whole system wouldn't exist unless it's there in the other games, but it doesn't show it.
That blows this thing way too wide open.
Yeah. It's wild.
I think a lot of people will be super mad and want him on an antagonist list for the arguable damage that he's doing. But it's I think he's just trying to do the best he can and not suffer. He's in a real bad place when we meet him. It's not good.
Yeah, I don't know if he cares about like other people suffering, but he certainly isn't interested. I mean, he falls in love and falls in love hard, though. Like, I will give him that.
Okay, there's his ridiculous. Because I was just gonna say he might actually not even belong on this list, but he does do good things for the women in the games.
Yeah.
Now I know that's a terrible soundbite or whatever, but like ultimately like thinking of like 3 with Patty, like he ultimately will lay his life down to save the girl.
He will, and then she has to lay her life down to save him.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Actually, damn it.
Because he took off because she kind of was like, well, I don't know.
It's
and
not immature,
he's like,
yeah.
if you don't love me, then nobody's going to love me. And that is, and he goes and takes off. And she's like, I'll find you, lover Larry. As she realizes what she's not, going to have then if she loses him.
It was just so like brilliantly written that I literally fell right into it, playing it off as if he was the hero instead of the heroine. So yeah, actually, now again, that was his redeeming thing, and it's gone now.
It isn't that one. And I mean, even on the last one, it's like, I don't know if you played 7, but he's on a boat and he has to win the competition for doing the best, like sex and boat activity related things to win a contest.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough argument.
He is definitely the main character in the series, though, and he's definitely the protagonist.
I think we got our episode title: Main Characters in Games.
Games have characters. Some of them are nicer than others. Let's discuss.
That's it. Games have characters. Okay, and we're getting to my favorite one last. I'm too tired to talk about him. Roger Wilco. Yeah.
Yay.
So great
Yeah.
job, Roger. We love you, man. We were literally talking about you, the fictional character who's not listening to the show, last night. And
Yeah.
like really actually kind of as philosophically as you possibly can about adventure game characters and about like connection with them and realism and crossing the threshold between stereotype or caricature into a character you can check in on and be like, oh, Roger's not doing as good as he was, or Roger's doing better now, or like there was something nice about that. And
Yeah, that little bit of a wave with him. He was never like totally steady. It's like things are all right. Oh, now he's screwed.
yeah,
Oh, now he's doing all right. Oh, and he helped that guy. Oh, now he's really screwed.
exactly. And it'd be nice too, because if I checked in on him, like I played so much Space Quest the last few years, especially through COVID and stuff. Like, so I would check in like a good place and a bad place. I'd check in a bad place, and it'd be like Space Quest 5, where he's like being celebrated and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, Roger's doing good, and he's still confused and doesn't know what he's doing, so there's hope for me. and then you check in on him again later when you're doing good in Space Quest 6, and he's doing horrible, and it's like, hey, hang in there, my guy. So
it's all right. He only had half the team. It's like I always had a thing for the two guys from Andromeda. If I was to worship anybody about those games, I always thought they were the coolest in like the whole wide world. I wanted to like be them and meet them, and I don't know. Everything about them was amazing.
Yeah, I think I still want their attention the most out of everyone.
Very much.
When it comes to Twitter and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're stingy with it, and they know that.
Yeah.
Very sexy.
It's lovely. I know. I'm surprised. I have thanks to Trowells, I have a Space Quest and Roberta magazine, Space Fista magazine that's signed by Scott. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. Well, I would like to slap my genitals against it.
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead and end on that.
Okay.
We're paging a thing. So check us out on all the things. Facebook.com, we're paging a group. You should join it and say hi to people and do conversations. You can find us on Twitter and just Twitter at CGG Podcast and also at Phantom Fellows. Those are Twitters. Instagram's also there. That one's a scavenger hunt. You have fun finding it. It's probably the one I just said before, maybe with a the. Send us an email.
Just CGG. At CGG. You're good.
Okay, no the. Yeah. So, see, I fucked it up. Okay, well, listen. No, not that part yet. We have an email. Do that if you want. Yeah. Emails are dope, and we almost probably have enough for like a mailbag. But well, again,
it is coming.
Yeah,
we've got nice emails from lovely people that we have been reading.
Yeah,
as
Brian,
I said, every single one of them. Yep, Brian, your email was great too. Gave us lots to think about, and we will be addressing all of these in sort of a compendium of sorts at some point.
Yeah. Now we named one. Do we name them all or keep moving? We keep moving. Okay.
Okay.
Or we just say generic names again.
Bill, John, David, Paul, Peter.
Thurston.
Thank you.
Okay. Our Patreons, thank you so much to all of our Patreons. You guys are awesome. If you guys want stuff, maybe let us know. We have a bunch of stuff. We're always like, that'd be fun on Patreon, and then I don't feel like you do though, because like I get notifications from like my MotoGP podcast, and they're like 10-minute clip of us being idiots, and I'm like, I'm good. Like I am. There's a lot of media out here. Like I don't need like your B takes.
Yeah.
But if you guys do want our B takes, especially when I put it like that, please let me know.
Yeah. So we will definitely listen.
Yeah, God, I really hope that nobody says that. That'd be a nightmare. I'm not an organized man. I think you all know this. So that's it. We did a good job. Oh, Wishlist, our adventure game. There's going to be a whole bunch of awesome artwork to show everybody soon. It's been a refreshing going on, let's say, as I've accrued several more years, possibly 10,000 hours of experience. That's gone back and touched up a lot of the old rooms and stuff like that. And it's looking.
The folders are getting fat for sure. PHAT.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy. Well. And they unwishlisted it. Damn it.
We had them so close.
So when you're ahead thing, I struggle with it too. This is why we're still recording this episode, I guess. I'm so sorry, everyone. Don't do murder.
city raccoons.
Yeah, they're kind of cute too.
Yeah. It depends on if you ever owned chickens when you were a kid or not. Because apparently they're assholes. They're just like, I'm going to pull this through the fence and I don't care if it fits or not. And then imagine being the kid waking up the next morning going, it didn't fit. You know, it's very saddening.
Holy shit. Jesus Christ. You mean about a chicken this whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had
Wow.
chickens growing up, so it would happen to them occasionally.
Jesus Christ. Well, welcome to the podcast, everyone. We're